Asian Joe writes in,
Hi, Asian Joe.
which Creighton team under McDermott has had the most fouls per game? I could take a guess without looking. I mean, it definitely. I mean, let me pull it up real quick. So every year in the Kalkbrenner era, they've been like basically number one in the country. So this year they're number one, least fouls. Last year they were number one. 22-23 they were number two behind Colgate. 21-22 they were number 7 in the country. So then we get into some trickier territory. I would imagine 35th in 2020, 2021. And so top 37 in 1920, 93rd in 1819, 18th in 1718, 42nd. I mean, they're always basically top 100 in the country. It's never really it's never been the kind of defense that is going to push up on you and try and get steals and runouts and stuff like that. It's not a pressure defense. It's just not how they play. They know they have to play on scheme because most of the times they lack the athleticism to be able to really push up with teams and run with them. And they want to save a lot of that gas for what they do on the offensive side of the ball. So what was the year that I said the 18, was it 18-19 that had some more fouls called on them? Well, they had some Christian Bishop in there.
You have to go all the way back to 1819?
Yeah, they had some fouls called on them in 18-19.
That's like 110 years ago. 210 years ago.
Yeah, they were 93rd in the country. Still top 100, right? But 93rd in the country. So that team had freshman Christian Bishop. This was the team that went to the NIT. Yeah. Tyshawn, Davion Mintz, Martine Krompel, freshman Zagorowski. This is the group that ended up going to the NCAA, that ended up winning the Big East basically the next year. They added Denzel Mahoney. But anyway, I guess there's your answer. But they don't really push up on you that much. That's kind of how they play. And especially with Kalkbrenner, they've made that their complete identity. Josh
Connor,
Around the Horn is
where
dead.
are we going?
It's dead. A television show. I saw you yesterday professing your love to Tony Reale.
I do.
On Twitter. You were like, I love you, Tony.
He's a good human.
Is he?
Yeah.
How do we know this?
Okay, outwardly appearances on television, he plays a good moral man.
All right. What if it turns out that he's a real jackwagon,
real
behind
monster?
the scenes? Yeah.
I guess that would surprise me. How about that?
Around the Horn, which has been I'm sure he's a great guy, which has been a staple of ESPN's weekday programming for more than 2 decades, will host its final episode Friday, May 23rd. It's probably going to be the day that we celebrate our birthdays around here.
Yeah, definitely.
4:00 Central on ESPN. Tony Reale in a rotation of 4 daily national sports media panelists who attempt to earn points and avoid being muted by Reale as they offer their perspectives on the biggest sports topics of the day. So I have a pair of questions for you, Josh.
Okay.
Well, actually, I just have one main one.
One.
Who's on the final panel?
Okay, assuming we're not going to hey, let's play 2 games or let's expand it to 10 people. We're just doing.
You get Tony. Tony is the guy behind the thing, slapping the mute button, and you get 4 people. When you think this show, what do you think of?
I guess
there's one obvious one.
I guess it would have to be Woody Page.
Yes, absolutely. And then on his whiteboard, on his chalkboard, it says, "Thank you, Tony. You're a great guy. Yeah. You're definitely not a monster."
Not a monster.
Yeah.
I guess if we're going with the staples of the show,
it doesn't have to be. You know what? I'll allow you to personalize it to yourself.
Okay.
What do you want to see when you think of Around the Horn? which are the panelists that you think of?
I was gonna say Woody Page, Bob Ryan, Tim Calishaw, and Bill Plaschke would be the final panel.
Nice. But you love Bomani Jones.
But now you've allowed me
Yes.
to expand the universe of it all and people who aren't 90 years old onto the show.
I do. You named. I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
You named the 4. I never knew. Like, I don't even think at the time the show started, I didn't really understand the concept of.
Well, no one understands the concept of the show.
I didn't understand. No, it wasn't the concept of the show. It was the concept of like these columnists who work at newspaper, like they were writers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't really understand what that was until I started to figure out sports media.
Okay.
I just thought Tim Calishaw was on TV. But then I realized I hadn't seen Tim Calishaw in my entire life. Who's this guy and why is he saying these things? And then I kind of started to get it. But I know Tim Calishaw now because he was on Around the Horn.
Yeah. I would pick for just something I would enjoy watching, probably Bomani Jones, Pablo Torre, people who don't work at ESPN anymore.
Yeah, you love those guys.
Throw Mina Kimes
You
in
love
there.
Mina Kimes.
I do. Omaha's own Mina Kimes. And I don't know. He was always give me Kate Fagan. I'll throw a deep cut in there.
Kate Fagan, the basketball player.
I have her phone number. Should we call her?
Many of these people that you have suggested have been a guest on the show that you produce.
Yes, that's
half of them.
Not unintentional.
Half of them. It's interesting. Why didn't we call Frank Isola and get him on the show?
I know you love New York.
I do.
Maybe I should.
Why don't we call Frank Isola? Why don't we call Jackie Mack? Why don't we get her on the show?
I would like to see her on the last show. I know she retired from like everything, but
yeah,
I think the viewers would like that too.
Bill Plaschke. Bob. We knew about Bob Ryan before. That Bob Ryan was big outside of Around the Horn, but Around the Horn made a lot of these, helped make a lot of these people anyway. Definitely the first time I saw any of the people that it's the first time I saw Bomani Jones.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what he was doing before that, where he was firing off his takes.
North Carolina Sports Radio.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
I don't think Jay Mariotti is going to be asked to be on the final show.
Didn't he get in trouble? Did he get canceled?
Many times. But that might be who Matt McMaster wants to see.
Oh, really?
Well, Chicago.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know he was from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Mike writes in.
Hi, Mike.
1620 should do their own version of Around the Horn.
Ooh.
Panelists, they come in and.
Who would be the host? Who would be the 4?
Yeah, who would be the host?
Like, now,
who would be the host?
I think our staff is solid enough to like, hey, don't get your feelings hurt if you don't get picked.
Who would be the host of the show?
I don't know.
Does it have to be a current 1620 The Zone?
Mike, please specify. Now that expands it quite a bit.
Josh Odson hosting.
I'm hosting?
Yes. You are the Tony Reale of 1620 The Zone. Everybody loves you, Josh.
Well, we've walked a similar path in life.
All right, we'll work on that.
I'm also not a monster.
Work on that. We might have to put that together. All right, we'll take a break. So May 23rd is the last Around the Horn. We'll come back in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll hear from crazy old Mike Eckler.
This guy.
What's crazy old Mike Eckler up to? We'll find out next on 1620 The Zone.